Have you ever thought about how one single moment, one choice, can change absolutely everything? Well, that's exactly what we're diving into today. We're going to explore a really powerful folktale about love, about loss, and about how fate can turn on a dime. And this quote, this really sets the scene for everything. You can just feel the heartbreak in those words, right? It's a mother, Sudha, talking to her daughter, and right away you know this story is going to be about memory, about loss, and about a love that's just timeless. All right, so picture this. It's a quiet, moonlit night. A woman named Sudha is sitting in her courtyard, just staring up at the sky, probably lost in her thoughts. And that's when her young daughter, Bela, comes up to her and asks for a bedtime story. But not the usual ones. She wants something new. So Sudha agrees, but this isn't going to be some fairy tale about kings or faraway lands. Nope. She decides to tell Beta the realest, most important story she knows, their own. The story of their family, starting way back, even before Bella was born. And with that, Sudha's story takes us back in time, back to a simpler, happier life with her husband, Raghu. He was a woodcutter, and, they didn't have much, but their little world was just overflowing with love and big dreams for their future family. It was perfect. But also, you get the sense that it was incredibly fragile.
And just look at the contrast here. It's night and day, isn't it? When Raghu was there, life was all about love, laughter, feeling safe. They were making plans, but then, after he was gone, everything flips. It becomes a daily grind, a struggle just to survive, wrapped up in sadness and constant uncertainty.
And Raghu's biggest dream wasn't even for himself. It was all for his daughter. He was dead set on making sure she wouldn't have to follow in his footsteps, living that tough life of a woodcutter. No way. He dreamed of her getting a great education, becoming a respected officer, having a life that was bigger and better than his. That was his entire focus. And then it happened. The moment everything shattered. It started out as a totally normal day. Raghu grabs his tools, tells Sudha he's heading into the forest for wood, and he just never came back. Vanished. You can just imagine the panic. Sudha waits all night. Nothing. The very next day, a search party heads out. And what they find? Well, it's everyone's worst nightmare. His axe, his rope, and some bones. Right there, near a tree. I mean, what else could they think? Everyone, including Sudha, had to accept the horrible truth. Raghu was gone. So, just like that, Sudha's life is turned upside down. She's alone, and for six long years, she has to do it all. She's not just mourning her husband, she's raising Bela by herself, taking on Raghu's back-breaking work of cutting and selling wood just to put food on the table. Her life became this relentless fight, not just against poverty, but against this crushing sadness that never went away. And just when you think things couldn't get any worse, right? Wrong. The landlord shows up, and he gives her this awful ultimatum. Pay 2 months of back rent plus interest in just 2 days, or he'll throw them and everything they own out into the street. So now they've gone from just struggling to being completely desperate. Okay, so what do you do when you're that desperate? It forces them to take a huge risk. They need a lot of money fast, which means they need a lot of wood. So Sudha and young Bela have no choice but to go deep into the forest, way deeper than they'd ever usually go, looking for a big spore, a giant tree they can cut down. So Bela starts chopping at this huge tree with her little axe, and bam, a flash of light, and this ancient, withered old man just appears, like he came right out of the tree trunk. And he is not happy. He's furious, accusing them of trespassing and stealing from his forest. And his anger just escalates until he's threatening to kill Bela right then and there before giving Sudha a horrifying choice. And here it is, the ultimatum. It's just unthinkable. A choice that is no choice at all. In exchange for her daughter's life, Sudha must agree to marry him, this cruel, ancient stranger. Trapped and terrified, with every instinct screaming no, she does what any mother would do. She agrees. So now they're trapped, living this miserable existence in the old man's hut deep in the forest. Then one night, something else happens. A scorpion gets in and stings the old man. And he cries out in agony, his body just racked with poison and pain. And Sudha's first thought, honestly, good. He deserves it. But it's Bella who stops her. She reminds her mother of the very lessons she herself had taught about compassion. This is really the heart of the whole story, isn't it? Even when someone is cruel to you, you must not lose your own humanity. Hearing those words from her own child, it changes something in Sudha. She goes out, gathers some herbs, and starts to treat the old man's wound. And as she touches his foot, not with anger, but with genuine compassion, the whole hut is filled with this blinding, magical light. Something incredible is happening. And when the light fades, the cruel old man is gone, and standing right there is Raghu, her husband, young and healthy, just as she remembered him. In a single moment, the entire nightmare is transformed into a miracle. I mean, can you even imagine? Sudha is in complete shock. She can't understand what just happened. And that's when Raghu begins to explain the unbelievable truth behind his 6-year absence. It wasn't a wild animal that took him. It was a curse. It turns out, on that fateful day, Raghu had been arrogant. While he was cutting down a tree, he destroyed a bird's nest and didn't think twice about it. A passing sage, angered by Raghu's pride and his lack of remorse, placed a powerful curse on him as punishment. And this curse came with these very specific, almost impossible conditions. Raghu would be trapped inside the tree, transformed into an old man. To be freed, his own wife would have to willingly marry him in that cursed form, and then, crucially, touch him with genuine compassion. Until all those conditions were met, he was forbidden from ever revealing who he really was. Talk about a long shot, right? And yet, somehow, after 6 years of waiting, all those impossible pieces of the puzzle just clicked into place. Sudha's desperate choice to marry him and Bella's plea for compassion fulfilled all the conditions and broke the spell. The long night of their suffering was finally over. This story shows us that fate, it isn't some immovable force. It's a path that can be altered. The turn of time happened all because when they were faced with a choice between vengeance and mercy, they chose mercy. The family was finally whole again. And this brings us to the final lingering question of the tale, doesn't it? In the story, the answer is a resounding yes. It makes you wonder about the small choices we face every day and whether a single act of kindness holds the power to rewrite our own stories.